What's up, everybody? It's Gary V, and this is the Sports Card Strategy Show, because you know this, there is no off-season.
No off-season! When you get into this game, the reason why you pay someone like Paul Hickey to get your sports card strategy together is because when you're starting out, you need perspective, you need wisdom, you need insights. And so he's been around the track enough times where he can actually coach you up and guide you. Doesn't mean he's going to take you to the promised land tomorrow, but you now have a coach by your side that can advise and kind of even create these pathways where you can get the education yourself. And that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own.
What? The kids better buy my rookie card now, because after this year, the price ain't coming down.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Hickey. It's time to sit back, listen, learn, and earn with me on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving weekend. I'm Paul Hickey. I'm back with Kendall, the Lefty, McKee. What's your favorite holiday dip? Is it a little spinach artichoke dip? Is it maybe some queso, maybe some hummus, maybe some buffalo chicken dip? No. The holiday dip that's my favorite is the one that we're right in the middle of right now, the sports card holiday dip that Kendall, McKee, and I will be helping you buy the right card for the right player at the right time during this time period. Starting today's episode, how to buy the sports card holiday dip. Who is Lefty buying? Who am I buying? And then we've got a lot of other topics that we're going to get into. Lefty's going to talk to us about a PSA update. I want to know, why do PSA offers disappear when I click on them? Is SGC actually taking more than 40 business days for their turnaround time? Crazy. Is there a play on an NFL veteran running back? Maybe. Tickets to the National go on sale today, December 1st. And I got another big Wemby win that I want to talk to everybody about. And Arch Manning, Lefty, let's start there. I mean, let's just throw salt in the wound for the Aggies. I mean, Arch Manning, look, I'll let you comment here in a second, but like it or not, Arch Manning's 2023 Prism draft pick Saturday Star signatures, the one we've been talking about, the one that I'm still holding two of, one base and one silver. The base is up $142 after his win over your Aggies this weekend. Sorry, buddy.
The commentators basically said, don't give Arch the opportunity to get hot. And I think we gave him the opportunity to get hot in the game. The first half, honestly, Paul, was horrific for him. Like, I think at one point he was like 3 for 9 or something with
the first half was horrible for both teams.
I know, but I was just like, holy cow. He was just all deep and it was all over the place. And then we gave him an opportunity to run. And that was a big miss by us. We didn't spy Arch. And he came up with 70 yards rushing in third quarter or something like that. And I was like, oh no, I could see it happening. I could see it. I could see us unfolding. I could see him happening. We had a bunch of bad drives in the third quarter, and I just knew that was it. I hate losing to Texas. But what I hate even more is that you still are holding them. This was the point where you could get out.
Yeah, but you look,
he's
not
in the college football playoff, Paul.
I believe in Arch Manning, Lefty. I believe in him as a player. I think he's had a good season. I think Texas has not been good. I think Arch Manning has been the reason why they have won games. And I think, look, yeah, they might not make the college football playoffs, or I don't know if it's already been announced, whatever. Look, that would suck. If they don't make the college football playoffs, because if they would have scheduled a cupcake in week 1, they'd be in the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, they shouldn't have lost to Florida. They probably should have beat Kentucky more than 13-10. And yeah, going in and losing at Georgia, if that were kind of their only loss other than Florida, I think it'd be a very different story. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I think Arch Manning is legit. And here's why. I will say this. Here's why I'm still holding. I'm still down on those cards. So I don't want to just get out on Arch because I have 2 really good cards, and I'm still like, even though, so the card that I mentioned a minute ago, it's up $142, but with its most recent sale, even after that win, I'm still down like $200 on that card. So it's just not, it's more of me. I don't think I'm being stubborn, because I think if these were like base cards or something like that, or maybe if these were for from the 2024 set, maybe then I'd be being a little stubborn. But I mean, these are his first autos. I think these are still the ones that are going to rise the most. There are still selling markers for Arch Manning. And I think there's been a lot of detractors that have come this season, unfortunately, because people haven't really watched Texas play. They've just looked at the box score. They've just looked at the overall, the expectations of Arch were probably a little too high. Anyway, you're right. I could have listed it in an auction. It could have been a selling marker.
Are you going to hold for the next season? Is that your
plan? I might. Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm going to go buy more Arch Manning, but there's only 2 cards I have. They're both pretty significant cards. I think I'm into the base auto about $550. That sold for $270. So that like crashed down hard and then came back up $142 after the win against Texas A&M. So I need a little bit more Arch bounce back before I list in an auction.
I've got them listed. Say you could sell now and then bounce back into a better placement in March.
Yeah, I'd lose too much if I sold now. I've got them listed in a buy it now or best offer. If I get, there's been more watchers since Saturday's game, so I've sent offers out and they haven't been accepted. But I still like my position on Arch. I mean, they're both Panini sealed autos. They're going to go up as his stock goes back up, and I believe it will. I mean, even if they don't make the college football, like, you could make an argument that it's better for his card value if he doesn't make the college football playoffs, because then hopefully he just goes and dominates in a bowl game, and then maybe that spikes his cards more than like losing to a tough team in the first round of the college football playoffs or something like that. But I think he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft at some point, whether it's 2026 or 2027. I think the Arch Manning hype train is going to start back up again, potentially, if not in an NFL offseason leading up to the draft, potentially in an NFL post-draft training camp situation leading up to his first NFL game. Those would still be the cards to own. So I think I could be holding these autographs for another, 6 to 18 months potentially. We'll see what happens. We've actually got somebody in the live chat here saying save Arch Manning for 2 years. Nice payoff. So we'll see. I'm
just saying I'm looking to buy into him now is what that's where I'm at. Because I do believe in the future. I think it's there.
So maybe he's someone that you're targeting during the holiday dip. We'll get into that later in the episode. Okay, so guys, many of you have listened to the Sports Card Strategy Show for a long time now and have thought about subscribing to nooffseason.com, but you've been waiting. I'm here to tell you that your wait is over. Don't let someone else grab your spot. We've only got a few spots remaining at nooffseason.com. In the interest of keeping our strategies and plays to an exclusive group of premium members, we're capping our total membership number to 500 paid members at any given time. NoOffSeason.com helps you make real profits flipping sports cards with insider data, proven strategies, and exclusive access to undervalued cards before the rest of the market catches on. Our My Athletes feature is rocking and rolling. Lefty and I are going to use that in today's episode as we're buying the holiday dip. And we've got the Sell Alerts feature launching soon. All right, before we get into my other updates, Lefty, why don't you give us an update on your PSA vault situation from a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah. Well, overall, as you guys I'm sure have expected, overall, this has been another disappointing section of the PSA's vault. So, November 17th, we had an episode. I believe it was November 17th. We had an episode where I just came out and I was just like, this is ridiculous, PSA. What the frick are you doing? Like, I've emailed you 4.5, maybe 5, maybe 700 times, and you still have nothing to give for me on assets that I have that are over multiple $100 in value. Like, this is ridiculous. So at 11:10 p.m. on Monday night, that same night, I got an email that said, "Thank you for reaching out to PSA, not Paul, PSA Vault customer service. My name is blank. I'll leave that name blank. I'm glad to assist you with this inquiry, blah, blah, blah. Once you have that information given to us, we would love to resolve this promptly," which is ridiculous because I've already included the information in previous emails, so they just didn't read it. All right. Then I emailed them back. Right away.
Of course you did.
And I was like, "Hey, thanks for getting back to me. I've had 4 cards that are held up. I have other issues, but let's just resolve the 4 cards first, and then I would love to talk to you about some other things."
Smart. I like that.
3 days later, they emailed me back. And they said, "Thank you so much for following up. I genuinely appreciate your patience. I completely understand how stressful and disappointing it is for long without clear answers. Thanks. Please know your situation is important to us. I'm here to ensure that this is addressed properly." Oh, are you? Unfortunately, it appears that your shipment either did not include your collector's ID in the address, or it may have been covered or scuffed during transit, which is not true because the shipments came from them. They are the ones who have messed this up because both of these submissions have come from the grading submission and the authentication service. So both of them I did not send to them. So they already are messed up here.
Blood is boiling at this point.
Yeah. So to help this process, why don't you include a couple of more information for us after I've already sent them all the information for the 900th time?
This is a bot, by the way. This is just a bot.
Absolutely. So I respond right away. I said, I have 4 cards and I gave them all the information. I gave them all the orders. I gave them screenshots of their own platform where my cards are on the shadow service, blah, blah, blah. Congrats on the big win is what my cards have said, but then I can't find them, da-da-da. That was 10 days ago. I have not had a reply in 10 days. So this morning, while Mary was screaming her face off, and I was trying to focus on something else at 2 a.m., I decided to give them another email, a follow-up email, if you will. And I said, the fact that this has not been responded to in 10 days is flat out unacceptable. I need to know what to do about these items. I would like for PSA to do something about this. Grading credits or discounts on my membership or something else, because this is ridiculous and I'm being cared for. I am not being cared for at a moment from this company that I have regularly sung the praises of for years on our podcast. This is just straight up unacceptable. Kendall McKee.
You have to really F with Lefty to get him to use words like that.
That's what I was hoping.
Let me just tell you. You really have to poke the Lefty bear to
I am so anti-confrontation.
Like and here's the deal, everybody. So just to catch you all up to speed, I mean, you could go back and listen to us a couple episodes ago. Lefty did a great job of articulating the situation, but basically what happened to him is he's been waiting on cards to show up in his vault that he had acquired a long ass time ago. Kind of a mix of different cards, some that he bought on eBay that he selected to ship to his PSA vault, some that he graded with PSA, and then within the option that you receive during your grade reveal, you can quote unquote ship them to your vault. Okay, so these are like basic things that Lefty has done. And these cards are not showing up in his vault. Like, they're not there. And so because they're not there, he cannot take any action on them. He cannot sell them. He cannot ship them to himself. He can't list them on eBay through the PSA vault. He can't do anything with them. And they're not even in his account. So he's kind of in limbo. And Lefty, correct me if I'm wrong, but someone at some point did tell you that they have your cards. Is that correct? Or
yeah,
like
in one of the emails they said, we do believe we have your cards, but they might have been scuffed in shipping. Like the label might have been scuffed. So they're in this section of PSA where they said like a lot of other cards go when they can't identify them right away. And I'm like, that just sounds like the most BS answer I've ever heard. Yeah, I think we have them, but they're in a vault with a bunch of other cards that we don't know exactly who they belong to because you probably shipped them wrong. False.
Yeah,
I didn't ship them. You did.
So Lefty, let me ask you this. I mean, this is something we talked about a long time ago on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Right around the time NoOffSeason.com launched its grading services through the different grading companies, and we kind of have our own little vaulting service at NoOffSeason.com. It's not similar really to Fanatics Collect or PSA Vault. It's more of a consigning service. You can drop ship us your cards. That's especially handy for people that live in other countries like Australia, Canada, just to name a couple. There's people from around the world that use that service that are premium members of NoOffSeason.com. There's also people domestically in the US that use it just because it's pretty efficient. Like we've got a guy, Jay, who is a new member. He's been drop shipping me his cards from eBay, and then I just turn them around, submit them to grading, and then consign them for him or ship them back to him. So in a way, that's similar to what the PSA Vault is supposed to do. Now, I've messed up a couple of times, but I know where and when and why I messed up. And at the end of the day, I rectify the situation very quickly. And we're much, much smaller than PSA. Everyone in the hobby is much, much smaller than PSA. But Lefty, here's the question. Would you now just say, screw the PSA Vault, use no offseason at this point?
Yeah. I mean, it's getting there. I'll be honest. It's getting there. Like, the overwhelming amount of ease that it is when it's working right makes me still want my cards there. Plus, I have over 200 cards in the vault. So
I hear you there. It's
that's
like,
just going to be a pain in the butt to get back to me.
Yeah, that's true. And
but I will say this, Paul. I have 6 cards in my hand right here that I have not sent to PSA until they figure out some other issues. And I have more cards, and I mean, they're not bad cards.
No, I mean, you're right. When it's working, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
When it's not working, it's a freaking nightmare. And let me just tell you this. If this were me, oh boy, I probably would have taken a road trip out to California a couple of weeks ago and just knock down the door. Knock down Nat Turner's door.
You know what door you can't go knock down? In Delaware, because it's vacant.
Yeah, I'm not going to Delaware. I might go to California first, just to the HQ, just to wreak some havoc. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I might have to send you on my behalf.
Oh God. There's some stories of frustrated Paul frustrated Paul just, I'm like the Tasmanian devil, basically, when I get frustrated.
Remember when that lady at Fanatics Fest told you to get out of line?
Yeah, what was that all about? I'm standing at the end of a stanchion with no people in it. People in it.
Nobody.
You can attest to this. And so this lady goes,
you got fired up though.
This lady goes, can you you need to move. You're blocking people that are in the line. And I just sort of look around and there's no one around. And I'm like, really? This is a line? And she's like, you need to move. And she started to kind of get mad at me for it. So I was trying to like stay chill. And then when she kept yelling at me. Yeah. And I think that's when you walked up and I was like, why are you yelling at me? There's no one here. Like, I don't remember what I said to her, but I got really fired up.
It was intense.
Speaking of getting really fired up, before I get excited about another Wemby win that I want to talk to you guys about, I'm kind of excited because I hadn't seen our friend Chase Krim in a while. And I really like Chase. He's one of my favorite people. One of my actually, let me just take this in a different direction for a second. When I started in this hobby, I did not expect to meet cool people that I actually really like as friends. And let me just say, Chase Krim is one of those people that I'm just excited that I met through this hobby. Okay, so there's a little feel good for Chase. Now, I was excited the other day when I was watching Arch Manning whoop up on the Aggies, because I found Chase Krim, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and apparently he's doing Dos Equis commercials. Because here you see Krim on the left, and then and I mean, tell me that's not the same guy right here. Like, this is me with Krim at the National, right?
Buying the infamous
Jordan on the right. Poole. Buying that's a Cam Thomas I made a ton of money on. I bought this Cam Thomas from him. Jordan Poole was the prior year, which was another great story. But like, look, I mean, come on.
It's pretty close.
I mean, like, pretty close. It's the same nose, the same goatee, the same facial everything. The only thing that's different is like he just grew his hair out a little bit for the Dos Equis commercial.
A little mullet for the Dos Equis commercial.
So, I mean, Krim, we know you're listening. We know you're watching. Like, congratulations. I wanted to congratulate you on the air for your acting career. I hope to see you in other commercials soon. And I'm happy that you're thriving. Just multiple streams of income. Texas.
A little side note on this is I thought that I was at a bachelor party in California, in Los Angeles, from a guy that I was getting married to, and he wanted to watch WrestleMania. So we had WrestleMania on the TV, and I was like, dang, that guy looks really familiar. And it was Krim. Krim was in the second row of WrestleMania.
There you go. So Krim is everywhere. He's on Dos Equis commercials. What are you auditioning for next, Krim? That's what I want to know. Can you tell us?
Yeah, I need to know.
You're going to be in a Sprite commercial with Ant-Man? Like, what are we doing here?
That'd be nice.
I think, Lefty, I'm not sure. I might have to go back and rewind this episode, but I think you said that you were getting married to a guy. And I think maybe you meant to say that you were doing something differently than that.
Yeah. I not getting married to a guy. I'm already married to a woman. Okay. So,
I mean, hey,
to each his own. To each
I
his
love
own.
you either way. Love you either way.
To each his own, but I am not getting married to a guy. But I do feel like you are married to those Arch Manning cards. I'll put it that way.
I am. And I was almost married to this Victor Wembanyama card, but I just sold this fucker. Listen to this. This I bought raw off of eBay, by the way, everyone, because we get a lot of people. We get a lot of people that are obviously very, very supportive people here in the nooffseason.com fam. But we get a lot of people that are I think it's more new members at nooffseason.com or new listeners to the Sports Card Strategy Show that mean well. They're just trying to figure things out, right? Which makes sense because it took me a long time to figure things out. And it's not easy just to go buy any card raw and get it graded and sell it for a profit. But you get better at it over time. And one thing that I've gotten better at is picking the right price point for me. So the right price point for me is typically around the $300 to $600 raw card. Reason being is because typically those represent a card that will sell well raw again. So even if I don't get the grade that I want, I can crack it out and I can sell it raw later, or it might sell well in a 9 because maybe it's a case hit, maybe it's an autograph card, maybe it's a high or low serial numbered card that I want to grade. Those different kinds of desirable cards. So anyway, this was another one. I bought this one for $850 raw on eBay. Got it graded in the Value Plus submission. So got it before PSA extended the turnaround time. Got it back relatively quickly within about 30 business days. And it's a 2023 Topps Chrome Victor Wembanyama certified rookie autograph. I had already made a couple flips with this exact card and made money. This one, I noticed it. So I got a PSA 10, which is huge. So I knew I was going to make a pretty good profit there just off of the raw to grade. But then I noticed that there was one up for auction that was going to end over $2,400. So I was going to hold it, Lefty, actually, until the NBA playoffs, because I had already made quite a bit of money on Wemby in October. Yeah. But I decided, like, well, okay, even though it's the holiday dip, this might be one of those cards that's still increasing in value because of the type of card it is. On-card rookie auto for Wemby from Topps Chrome, now in a PSA 10, those kinds of things. And so I decided to list it in a buy it now or best offer at $2,500. Got two offers right away, one for $2,000 and another for $2,250. And so I went ahead and accepted the one for $2,250. So all in, this is a total net profit, even after the eBay fees and the cost of the card. So the total net profit of $1,103.50. So just all in, $855. I can't remember what I said earlier. All in, $855. Best offer accepted, $2,250. Total gross profit after fees, $1,958.50. Total net profit, $1,103.50. So,
it'll work.
Again, the Victor Wembanyama as one of the 5 athletes that I bought in 2025, continuing to pay off. So super excited about that.
Yeah, that's a good deal. I think I've seen you go around and do a lot of different Wemby plays, which like for me, I just would have stuck to Prism Silver just because I'm nervous about, making plays that I don't feel confident on. I've seen you make plays around Wemby that have all been on Topps Chrome, Mercury, all this kind of, like some different things, auto, non-auto, numbered, non-numbered, all this kind of stuff. And you've made a lot of wins. So props to you, my man.
Thanks, man. I still got a couple Prism Silver at PSA. One of them, in fact, I documented all this, and I'm hopefully going to put out some content on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy on it soon, because it was a BGS 9.5 with a 10 subgrade and I believe 3 9.5s and a 10. And so I sent it into PSA crossover just to see, like, will you motherfuckers actually do the right thing and give this a PSA 10? Nope. They charged me about $75 total to send me back my BGS 9.5. That's like perfect. It's definitely a PSA 10. So I cracked it out and submitted it to PSA in a bulk value submission that is at PSA right now. Can't wait till that thing gets a 10 and I can just shove it in their faces. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
When you go to California and figure out where my cards are, you can show them that.
First priority is getting your cards in your vault. I don't do anything else until that happens. And then I call you, I FaceTime you with them, and you confirm to them that you can see them in your vault. And then I show them the Wemby that got a PSA 10 and that they didn't give me for the crossover. So then I ask them for my $75 back. Once I get my $75 back, then I'm going to show them the Shedeur Sanders card that they N6'd for me last summer that then got a PSA 10 when I sent it in again. I'm going to ask them for $21 back for that one. So I'll be walking out of there with close to $100 cash, a middle finger to them, and you get your cards in your vault.
Fair.
Can't wait.
Just make sure they grade the Albergs that I sent back in.
Oh, yeah, the Ludwig Alberg. Man, that could be something that maybe you're buying during that. I mean, listen, holiday dip still coming. We just got a couple other things I want to talk about before we get there. Thought it would be interesting. I know a lot of times people speculate on stuff like this, so Lefty and I are going to talk about it. I noticed when watching my fantasy team suck absolute balls over the last few weeks that Derrick Henry is going to soon be in the top 10 leading rushers of all time. He's already passed Marcus Allen, Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk, and Jim Brown over the last like 3 or 4 weeks of this NFL season. So that's pretty impressive. Now he's still about 400 plus yards away from Tony Dorsett. And then he'd be like another, he's just under 1,000 away from Eric Dickerson, but he's moving up the list. So he's 11th right now. So my thought is, if he gets super cheap, does it make sense to make a play on him with a selling marker as a retirement or a Hall of Fame announcement or something like that? So the first thing I did was just looked at, like, over the last 90 days, which Derrick Henry graded rookie cards are down the most. And I would say, I mean, I don't know that it's a surefire bet to place on this, but if you're into this kind of thing, he does have some cards that are down over the last 90 days. His 2016 Prism Silver PSA 10, it's a pop 402. That's down $21. His Optic base PSA 9 from 2016 is down $15. That's a pop 635. His Optic Hollow PSA 9 from 2016 is down $60. That's only a pop 113. And his Optic Hollow PSA 10 is only a pop 76, but it is down $265. So are there potentially some plays on Derrick Henry that you could make with a couple future selling markers in mind? Sure. Are they really great selling markers? Not really. I mean, we've kind of proved in the past that the retirement of, like, a skill position player in the NFL, especially one who's never won a Super Bowl, as well as the Hall of Fame announcement, really doesn't move the needle on their cards a whole lot. It's really more of like, if you have a Derrick Henry card sitting around kind of a thing, or if you're were a Derrick Henry collector over the last 10 years and you've got some of his rookie cards, maybe you had them graded by PSA back in the day kind of a thing, it could get a little interesting for you. You could have a little treasure waiting to cash in potentially. And I would highly recommend that you start to look at doing that as he nears the end of his career. Because I do think that he's going to be a guy that will be in the news, if and when he does get into the top 10 all-time leading rushers, when he does announce his retirement, even though a lot of times for running backs like him, the retirement announcement is like nothing. It's like a fart in the wind. You barely even notice it. But I think he will. I think he'll make the Hall of Fame, so that could be something. So I wanted to call this out because it's really something we don't talk about very often. And there's a reason we don't talk about it very often, because there's not really a play here. But Lefty, what do you think?
I think if you could find an Optic Hollow PSA 10 right now for 180, then I'd say, then maybe that'd be worth it. Especially if you were not a comp, if you were not to make the comp on this at 180, then I would say, go for it. I'm more interested in a different Ravens player right now. I think I'm actually more interested in Lamar Jackson right now. I think their team has been pretty bad over the last couple of weeks, and I still think this team is going to win the division. So I would just pivot to a player that is not the position player on that team. I understand, you weren't talking about just the team success. You're talking about, the running back success of him as his career. I also will point out that the one guy that's ever gotten remotely close to breaking his high school rushing record did not do it. So, he finished his last high school game without beating Derrick Henry's all-time rushing record in high school. So, there's still a lot of stuff to be had for Derrick Henry. It's just not going to be me. Now, Turner maybe, because he's a Titans fan.
He's a Titans guy. Yeah.
I know he has a Derrick Henry auto. So,
here's an interesting one. Lamar, his 2018 Optic base PSA 10 is a pop 2751. That's down $24 over the last month. Lamar could be an interesting buy during the holiday dip, Lefty. To your point. And his 2018 base Prism PSA 10 pop 784, down $27.50. So I like to look at the dollar amount, not just the percentage, because that's really what you'd be looking at making back. Now, if we were to open up, say, his Optic base PSA 10 and sort of look at the 365-day chart just to kind of see what could maybe the ceiling be of that card. To give you an idea, it sold in April for $260. Its last sale was yesterday for $172. Now that, my friend, could be the perfect intersection of availability and desirability. Like I like to say. So I'm glad you brought him up. 172 last sale, April 4th, 2025, sold for 260. There's nothing going on with Lamar Jackson in April.
There you go.
September 23rd this year, 253. Here's another interesting one. November 21st. So like just over 10 days ago, 240. So that's actually a good segue into the holiday dip because like, look, 10 days ago, that card sold for 240. Yesterday, it sold for 172. So the holiday dip is here, my friends. NoOffSeason.com helps you make real profits flipping sports cards with insider data, proven strategies, and exclusive access to undervalued cards before the rest of the market catches on. Membership limited to just 500 people. Only a few spots remaining. Once we're full, guys. Ready to secure your edge? Vidget on over to nooffseason.com to find out how many more membership spots are available. All right, Lefty, a couple more things before we get to you. 2 quick things before we get to you and who you're buying. Okay. Why do PSA offers disappear? Okay. What do I mean by this? Well, a few episodes ago, we talked about how awesome these PSA offers are because, you get your grade reveal and you're like, wow, there's offers. I can accept them. Well, what I noticed recently is when my Cooper Flag Panini Instant Draft Night offers showed up, there were some offers for like $53 for all of my PSA 10s. I went in there. I was like, bet, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to waste any more time before I sell these. Well, as soon as I clicked accept offer, the little thing spun for a second, and then it said, no more offers available. Basically, psych. We said we wanted your card. We said we were going to give you $53 for it. Now, here's our middle finger. Okay. So here, let me just unpack this real quick. I think from a technology standpoint and from a back-end standpoint, I understand why this is happening. It's happening because there are people that are in the PSA offers program that actually are the ones making offers to PSA for these cards. So in other words, they're like prearranged sales where PSA can just like flip the card from one person to another, make a little bit of profit themselves. It's kind of like an everybody wins type of situation. I think what's happening, especially with cards like the Cooper Flag Panini Instant Draft Night and others that are like super high pop right off the bat, are that, look, the desirability goes down because the pop count goes up rapidly. And then all of a sudden people who are monitoring prices are the ones that are making the offers are monitoring prices going, well, I don't, and I know it's somewhat based on the card ladder value, whatever, but at the end of the day, someone's saying, I want this card or I don't want this card. I think more people are saying, I don't want this card. And that's why the offers are going away. It's happening with the 10s, with the 9s, with all versions of cards like that. I haven't really had it happen with like a lower pop card, say, a Victor Wembanyama auto, for example. I had an offer on one of those. Nothing disappeared on that one. So I understand like the actual reason why it's going away. What I have a major problem with, again, and this is just going to pile on what you talked about earlier with PSA, why isn't it updating it from a technology standpoint? Why, as the user, do I still see that there's an offer if there's not really an offer? Now, to me, as a coder, a software developer, and a person that has my own platform, you can fix that, and you should fix that. You shouldn't show someone something that's not available for them to buy or cash in on or whatever. So that is a huge miss by PSA. Another huge miss. So PSA offers are disappearing and it sucks. Okay. Now there's an alternative. You can get your card shipped back or you can list it on eBay. And what I did was I just listed it on eBay through PSA's account, but that's not as good as just accepting an offer. PSA, you've got to do better. Like, don't show us something that doesn't exist. Fix it. Fix it. Okay? Like, shut up and fix it. Stop bot emailing Lefty bullshit and just fix your problem because it's a problem. All right. Speaking of another problem, I'm going to get on SGC's case, okay? Because I've submitted through SGC a few times, some for my own cards, some for premium members of nooffseason.com. And I'm counting the days, SGC. I'm counting the days. And when I go to your website still tells me that if I make a grading submission that I under standard card grading, it says 15 to 20 business days for $15 a card. That's what your website says, SGC. That's what your website says. That's not what's happening. I've counted the business days, okay? I submitted on October 11th at 9:58 p.m. and 20 seconds, okay? I counted the business days. We're up around 40 plus now, okay? 15 to 20 my ass. I'd like my cards back, SGC, or I'd like an announcement from all of you. Like PSA had an announcement. You're owned by PSA. PSA had an announcement. Why don't you have an announcement? Because I'm submitting my cards to you for a reason of getting them back in 50. That's literally the reason. That's literally the reason I'm sending it to you. And now I'm still waiting on submissions from S frickin' GC. So part of the problem is in their communication. The problem is that the submissions aren't showing as received until about 2 weeks after you ship them. So this is a way that they kind of get around this, right? But even still, this hasn't been the case with SGC since 2021. So I would like SGC to crawl out of its hole and kind of try to explain what's going on here. All right. And so before we get to Lefty, let me just say this. Are you ready to start grading your cards? CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to CGC Cards to start grading today. All right, Lefty, over to you. It's the holiday dip buying party. Who are you buying and why, my man?
Yeah, man, I've been excited about putting this together. One, because, like the buying the dips with dips, like laughter that we had. I had a dip earlier. I did. I ate it all. It was some chunky picante salsa. It was very good. It actually was what I had for lunch. So some salsa for lunch. It's getting crazy around here, guys. So buying the dip for me is going to look on one end kind of boring, because there's not a whole lot of names on here that you're going to be like, oh, that's a sexy name, oh, that's going to be something that, oh, that's a new search inquiry for me. Now, I will throw some of those out there just because this is the show and we make media and this is, worth talking about. But the number one player on my list, before I go any further, the three that I'm very high on are all on the My Athletes tab from Sports Card Strategy Show's finest, nooffseason.com. So if you go to the My Athletes tab, you can set up, you have to be a premium member, but you can go set up the premium offering of My Athletes, and you can go look at My Athletes. For instance, we have here. Yeah, this is Paul's page.
These are my athletes, but
mine are Aaron Judge, Amin Thompson, Anthony Edwards, not Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson, stop the presses. What's going on? Sorry, go ahead.
Bobby Witt Jr., Caitlin Clark, Lamine Yamal, LeBron James, Messi. I have Paolo Banchero in there, Paul Skeens, SGA, Tiger Woods, and Victor Wembanyama. So that's where my athletes are at in the My Athletes tab. Now, what I've done with this tab specifically is I have honed in on 3 of these people for the holiday dip. And one of them, my most exciting purchases so far, have been on auctions I've had from Caitlin Clark.
Ooh.
I know. It's a well that we keep going back to, but this is a well that's something that is desirable, and she's down in the media, and her prices are down. So there's a lot of things to be looking at for an absolute buying frenzy on Caitlin Clark. I have already purchased 2 Ice Prism 22 poopers, PSA 10s, at good prices. And I've already been auctioning or bidding on several different auctions for her, because I think that these are going to be cards that are going to continue to go up in the spring of next year. So I'm holding these cards for probably around 100 days, probably a little over 90 days, because the WNBA season starts around March or April. And her hype will pick up around the March Madness tournament. So I do believe that it's going to be about 4 months away from now. We're going to be selling these Caitlin Clark cards. My next athlete is Anthony Edwards. I love Anthony Edwards. Is the only guy that I've watched a lot of basketball this year. I've watched a lot of basketball because, one, I'm deeply entrenched in fantasy basketball. I cannot get away from it. I love it, even though not a lot of people like it. I love it. I love it because you can play every day, and it's something that you can get in with your mates and say, I know basketball better than you. And typically, I do. So I like dominating my friends. And so I've watched a lot of basketball. Also, my Oklahoma City Thunder, they just happen to also be the best team in ever. And so I love watching them as well. Well, the other night, Paul, they had a game against the Timberwolves. And I was just like, okay, another game of me watching the Thunder. Ant-Man was straight up unguardable. The best defensive team in the nation, statistically and off of sheer Kendall's eye test, could not stop Ant from going ballistic. This guy was unstoppable. He's unstoppable. One of the few players in the National Basketball Association, one of the few players that I don't think it matters who's on his team. I don't think it matters who you put around him. He will get his. He is athletic. He's a shooter. He's a dimer. He's doing it all. Anyway, and his prices have not reflected that he is doing it all. I think they will. I think this will go back up to $1,000 card. And right now I'm buying in. I'm trying to buy in around 833, which is where Paul has bought in as well. And so I'm looking to buy the dip, if there is one, on Anthony Edwards. Third player, Bobby Witt Jr. I have gone on this podcast many, many, many times saying Bobby Witt Jr. is a buy in December and a sell in April. Now, I'm going to pause on Bobby Witt Jr. because there's another guy that I'm putting in this and that I'm putting right here. Paul Mother Effin Skeens. This guy is a dude that just won another huge award this offseason and looks like a total robot while doing it. If you've seen his awards, when he gets the awards, Livy Dunn is way more excited than he is. She's like, and he's just like, that's right. I'm Paul Skeens, and I'm going to do it again. There's a lot of trade speculation around Mr. Skeens this offseason. I'm most interested in his ability to pitch because he can still do that. But in news flash, he's still that guy, Paul. He's still that guy. I do think that there are some interesting quotes out there where he has said on multiple occasions for many different athletes he wants to play for the New York Yankees. I think that ends up happening. Maybe not this offseason, but I think that speculation will continue to grow. And I think when it becomes into the spring training, the Pirates have said that they're willing to spend some more money, which will remain to be seen. But still, I think Mr. Paul Skeens will have quite the selling frenzy in March. So those are my four big ones. I added Bobby Witt Jr. in there basically just to segue to Paul Skeens. But here's some names that I'm also looking for. These are auctions that I have won or have been bidding on. Scotty Scheffler. Now, you mentioned Alberg earlier as a good buying opportunity, and I think it is for him. Also, I think it's a good opportunity for Scotty Scheffler. Reason being, golf season just ended, which I had to Google, actually, because I was like, when the heck is golf season actually? PGA Tours from January to November. So we are actually in the off season of the PGA Tour. It begins in January again, which means theoretically this is a great opportunity to win a few auctions before everyone realizes that he's on fire again. I won a PSA 3 earlier this month on this card that I have been slowly trying to get in on. I've been very, very methodically approaching his Texas Sports Illustrated for Kids card. I've been trying to buy one of these cards for almost a year, and I've been very patient. I almost won a PSA 2 earlier this year, and I thought I was going to win it at $500. In the last second, somebody sniped me for $750 on the PSA 2, which was way over the previous sale. So these cards are very rare, which makes them like their buying prices go crazy because there's just a rarity amount of them. So anyway, I got in on a PSA 3 auction right at the end of November. which is, we've said this is the buying season. It's not just specifically December 1st, which is today, but it's been probably about the last week until the end of the year. So I got in on a PSA 3 for $569 after fees. Awesome purchase, because that's $200 less than a PSA 2 sold earlier this year. On multiple occasions, this card at a PSA 2 has sold more than a PSA 3. So I'm very excited about Scotty Scheffler. I will continue to monitor if there are more PSA 2 or 3 or 4s out there. I will look to do that. The PSA 4s are going for about $1,000, or between $1,000 and $1,500. So that may be a little bit pricey for me to get a couple of those. But the PSA 2 and 3 of this card are definitely where I'm honing in. If there's any available in December, I will be bidding on those.
Damn.
The last two that I'm interested in, Keontae George. I got to tell you this story really quickly. You know who Keontae George is, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, he is a young player on the Utah Jazz from Baylor University. I believe this is his second or third year in the NBA, not a rookie. He is having a resurgence. He's having an incredible year. There's been like scoring out of the wazoo for the Utah Jazz, but they cannot defend. But nobody cares about that when you're scoring 45. No one cares if you're running a negative 30 plus minus. Nobody cares. They just care about you scoring 40. So 2 months ago, I said, I am in on Keontae George to Turner. I told him this. I said, I'm in on him. I believe in him. I think he's the next guard that's going to take a scoring bump, like similar to what we've seen before. So on October 15th, I started bidding on these cards. His Prism Silver was going for $40 at the time. I was like, that is a win. I started going in, and I said, I want
PSA 10?
In a PSA 10, $40.
Okay.
So I start bidding on these cards. I routinely am losing auctions. And I was like, what the heck? Starting the day that I started bidding on them, the sales of his Prism Silver went up to $120. From $40 to $120. So all I'm saying is, do not buy Keontae George now, but I was almost on the cusp of making a lot of money. I was going to 4x or 3x my Keontae George. I did get in on a hyper that had not seen the bump yet, because his cards were going crazy, and then there was one that was a buy it now that was way less than the last previous auction. So I went ahead and sniped one of those. So I do have one Keontae George, but I'm interested in him. I also am searching Sandy Koufax in the dip. Reason being, he's still alive. And the couple of months ago, we did a segment on the Hall of Famers that are the oldest, or maybe the quickest demise. Maybe the quickest to his final selling marker.
Yep.
The Dodgers are very hot right now, and so I'm keeping Sandy Koufax cards in the back of my mind. And then somebody asked me earlier this week on my Instagram, Lefty, it's almost December. What prospects are we buying? That always happens, so I thought I'd give you one. Number one overall prospect in baseball, according to justbaseball.com, is a guy that is absolutely terrific. This guy is dynamic, and not a lot of people know him. Connor Griffin. His estimated time of arrival is 2026, so he will probably be up this year, and it plugs into, if the Pirates are going to spend some more money in free agency, and Paul Skeens continues to be a Pirate, and then, all of a sudden, if Connor Griffin, the best prospect in baseball, is also up in the major leagues, that's a recipe for a lot of profit, I mean. So I am interested in also buying into Connor Griffin cards this offseason. And if you take a little look down on my formula that we've had over the last couple of years, and which players are the fastest to the major leagues, we talk about runway a lot. If they're a top 10 prospect in baseball, plus their runway is good, usually that means it's going to be a pretty good selling marker. JJ Weatherholt is another one who's a shortstop at a premium position, 23 years old, from the St. Louis Cardinals, who are in a full rebuild. That is the two prospects that I would be going after if you are looking to prospect in baseball.
Connor Griffin, for those of you who are wondering, Konnor Griffin, and he has been in our sports card rankings for several months. The Connor Griffin card to buy raw and grade is actually, and this is what I love about our sports card rankings, the formula that we use tells you which cards to target. And, a lot of times we talk about, target the Bowman Chrome first base auto, but the card to target for him is just the Chrome Refractor non-auto from 2024 Bowman Draft. Reason being, it's a $45 card. It has $161 upside in PSA 10. And based on the gem rate, you're likely to make 17% on that card. And not just based on the gem rate. The gem rate is one factor in that formula. The Bowman Chrome First Prospect Auto, you have a $364 buy-in, $818 upside in a PSA 10, a much higher likelihood of getting a PSA 9, which means there is a 9% ROI. So basically what that means is that you are likely to spend $365 to make $523, which isn't bad on the auto. But if you go multiple copies of the Bowman Chrome First Refractor non-auto, you're likely to spend $45 and make 96 on each of them over and over again. So 17% ROI versus a 9% ROI on the refractor non-auto versus the base auto for Connor Griffin. So if I had to recommend an actual Connor Griffin play, it would be that. Now the raw to grade, obviously timing is a factor, right? You gotta look at, okay, now we're looking at 90 days. Do we get it back? Well, maybe some of you don't get it back by March. Maybe some of you get it back, though, by May, which still might end up being a good selling marker for you.
Yeah, I would
for a guy like Connor Griffin. So I think it's going to be one of those things. I said in a couple episodes ago, I was talking about what to do about PSA turnaround times increasing. And one thing I said was, you obviously, if you want to start to fade the cards, like, for example, the number one card in our sports card rankings right now, raw to grade, is a Drake May Optic Base 2024. Okay. Now, it's only a $5 card. It has $146 upside in a PSA 10. And based on the gem rate, if you buy multiple copies, you are likely to make a 98% ROI on that card. However, you have to take into account the turnaround time. If you do that now, you might not get those Drake May cards back till April, which means what is the price of that PSA 10 in April? Probably not $146. Maybe if Drake May wins the Super Bowl, maybe it still is because it rides the wave into the offseason. But you just have to take that into account. It's probably more like an $85 card or something like that, which brings down the projected ROI, probably cuts it in half. Is it a bad play? No, you just have to keep that in mind. But the other thing I said was, maybe start, in addition to maybe starting to fade some of those types of plays that are dependent on the quick turnaround time, maybe start to invest in higher dollar raw to grade plays. So that would be like some of the ones I'm about to talk about in my strategy, but I think even that Connor Griffin could still work. All right. One other thing I want to say about lefties. I mean, I really like the Caitlin Clark. I really like the Paul Skeens. They're in my athletes as well that I'm following. I've always liked the Bobby Witt Jr. play. Like Lefty says, we always talk about buy Bobby. I mean, it's been the same thing for the last several years. Buy Bobby Witt Jr. in December, sell him in May. Like Lefty said, sell him in April. It's just going to work. It should even work with Shohei Ohtani, although Shohei's prices are at an all-time high, but they continue to always be at an all-time high at any given point in time. So it should still work. One thing, Lefty, I want to talk about Scotty Scheffler. Now, you could say, wow, this guy really sucks at flipping sports cards. Or you could look at it like, I always take the profit. And so I'm putting myself in a position to always win. And so, but here's the interesting thing. I bought a 2017, and we want to emphasize there are really only two Scotty Scheffler cards. They're both Sports Illustrated for Kid card. The only one that you need to be targeting is the 2017. The 2022, not his rookie card, pennies on the dollar, doesn't mean anything. People are going to try to rip you off with that listing. Ignore the listing of the 2022 one. It's actually kind of a dumb photo too, because he's like chipping The 2017 is his actual rookie card. It's really his only card. And so that has been a card that I've talked about since 2023 because it's his only card. And he had already had a Masters win at that point. So I acquired a Scottie Scheffler 2017 Sports Illustrated for Kids PSA 5 for like $50 in 2023. Whoa. In 2023. I sold it for $200. I sold it for $200 on April 13th, 2024. Sold it for $200. So I won, right? I won quite a bit at the time. I was excited about it at the time. I talked about it on this show that I was excited about it. It was probably my win of the week, to be honest with you. One of my wins of the week. But now that card, now that
PSA 5 is going crazy.
A PSA 5 would sell for close to $1,000 right now, probably over $1,000. Yeah, there's a PSA 7 with 38 bids on it that ends in 7 hours, and it's already over $1,010. So my PSA 5. I mean, I wish I had my PSA 5 back? Yeah, you bet your ass I do. Did I 4x it? Yeah, but. God, it would have been great to sit here and go, I went from 50 to over 1,000 on that thing. But hey, sometimes you take the win a little too early. But okay, now if you like the content on this show and want more, go premium at nooffseason.com now to get unlimited advice answered on our Thursday or Friday premium podcast for premium members. Go premium at nooffseason.com. All right. And here's the deal. All of the people who went premium and who are premium got all of the information I'm about to give you last week because they're premium members. So they already got all this information. But who am I buying and why? All right. I've got 4 major plays that I'm focused on right now. And I think, and again, Lefty knows this about me. I have done much better since I started getting super hyper focused. I started talking about this hyper focused mentality a long time ago, but I really didn't start executing it until this past year. About a year ago, almost to the day, is when I started executing it. And I've had my best year ever. And I want you guys to have your best year ever. So I'm about to invest quite a bit of money over the next 4 to 6 weeks on some hyper-focused plays. Okay, number 1, raw to grade Shohei Ohtani plays from our sports card rankings at nooffseason.com. And there's quite a few of them. So our raw to grade sports card rankings at nooffseason.com have, let's see how many Shohei cards. 9 Shohei cards. All right, so we've got the 2018 Topps Holiday base, the 2018 Topps Heritage base, the 2018 Opening Day base, the 2018 Topps Chrome Pitching Sepia Refractor, the 2018 Bowman Base, the 2018 Topps Gallery, the 2018 Bowman Base Batting, which is by far the most expensive one, the 2018 Topps Chrome 83T, the 1983 Topps, and the 2018 Topps Chrome Base Pitching. All right. Now they're all yielding an ROI of 16% or above. Most of them are yielding an ROI of 40% or above. Like all but 2 of them, you make 40% on. Now, $34 buy-in, $55 buy-in, $30 buy-in, $478 buy-in, $944 buy-in, $46 buy-in, $45 buy-in. So most of these are like in the $50 buy-in point. There are some that are $200 all the way up until $1,000 raw. All right. So the reason I like all of these is no one is going to not want Shohei Ohtani cards ever. All right. Now, they are probably not going to dip as much as other players' cards are going to dip during the holiday dip, but they are dipping. And the reason they are is because he's just not in the news. He's not doing anything right now. He won his 2nd consecutive NL MVP award. He won his 2nd consecutive World Series. He came back as a pitcher. He did all the things that we said he was going to do. He did them, and his cards went to the moon like we said they were going to. And that was not a hard call to make. I'm not sitting here patting ourselves on the back for that. But It all happened. And so because it all happened, his cards are not really going down as much as other players' cards are. But because he's not doing any of that in the moment, there is no hyper relevancy to Shohei Ohtani. So his cards are always being auctioned off, and they're always desirable, and they're not cheap. But I am getting them in auctions on eBay at the target cost. And the way that I'm doing that is through the tool that Lefty already alluded to, which is our My Athletes tool. It's the best thing in the hobby. So you go to nooffseason.com, you add Shohei Ohtani to your athletes, and these are the auctions that we want you bidding in on eBay, and we're feeding them to you, and that is what I am doing. And so the reason why we're limiting our membership to only 500 members is for reasons like this, because we don't want everybody in the world to have access to the top auctions that we're curating for you. We only want 500 of you to have it. So I won a Shohei Ohtani base Bowman Chrome batting for just over the target cost, and sent it directly to PSA for grading. So, and that is hard to do because everybody wants that card. I'm currently bidding on this SGC 10 that you see right here. I'm currently winning it for $1,525. There's still 6 hours left. So who knows how high that thing is going to go. But when you are bidding in auctions, you are getting it for the fair market cost. And so that is what I want you to do. Now, Shohei, like I said, not necessarily going to be at the, if you were to check like the pricing charts on him and everything like that, not necessarily going to be at the bottom of his 365 day chart. Not necessarily going to be dipping all the way down to the bottom. But part of the reason why I'm buying some of these other cards is because they've hit their 365 day low in December, proving the holiday dip. So Kobe Bryant is a guy that I haven't bought yet until this holiday dip, but I am going hard into the 1996 Topps 138 base PSA 9. All right. Why? Okay. Number one, it's a Pop 22,000. It's always available, people. Always available. There's 22,000 of these things. So where Lefty talked about Scotty Scheffler, there's not really many of those. There's not going to really be many of those available for you to go buy. And that's fine. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't search for it. But on my list, I want to have some cards that anybody can go get. So there's 22,000 of these things. The 1996 Topps 138 base. It's a card that I've pretty much steered clear from since about 2022. However, it's been in our raw to grade sports card rankings ever since we launched the rankings a couple years ago, and people have done really well on it. It's pretty much always in the top 15 from a raw to grade standpoint. But the reason I'm going with the PSA 9, A, it's available. B, you know it's a 9. So you know you're not getting like something raw that might maybe looks like a 9, but there's some little mark or crease or something somewhere that you're not picking up on that makes it like a 4 or 5. And if you look at its 365 day chart, it's had a lot of highs over the last 365 days. But it's pretty much dipping back down because like its 365 day low was 2 day. It's 2 days from now last year. This card sold for $106. Okay. So while it's been selling for closer to 170 recently, I anticipate this card starting to dip. If you look at the historical data of this card, look at December 29th last year, look at December 23rd last year, look at Christmas Eve last year. This card is selling for $110, $114, $109. So look, you can potentially go buy this card for $170 right now, and you can still do very well on it. I'll tell you how in a second. But what I'm really looking to do is wait until closer to Christmas to get this thing down closer to its 365 day low of $109, which happened just a few days before Christmas last year. So again, with 22,000 of these things, you've got consignment shops listing them on eBay all the time. You've got people who just need Christmas money. You got NBA games on Christmas Day that fire people up. Maybe they want to start listing their old Kobe Bryant cards. Whatever the reason is, this thing's going to continuously be available. Be patient, wait, have that bid at like $115, $125 on Christmas Day, and try to see how many of these things you can win. Go buy some of them now if you want to, and here's why. Because there's multiple options. This is another reason why I love this card. Multiple options. You can crack the PSA 9 and submit it to SGC. If it gets an SGC 9.5, now all of a sudden you have close to a $300 card. All right. If it gets an SGC 9, you're not out that much. It's still a $120 card. So it's worth the gamble. Now, if you send it to BGS, if it gets a BGS 9.5, now all of a sudden you got close to a $400 card. And if you get a BGS 9, you've got a $150 card. So you're really not out that much. Okay. So this is part of the reason why I really like the Kobe Bryant 1996 Topps base is because A, you've got multiple options. B, you've got tons available. And C, it should continuously get lower as we get close to Christmas Day. So it really like checks all the boxes there. Now, you see a very similar pattern with another vintage quote unquote card, Ken Griffey Jr.'s 1989 Upper Deck base. Just like Shohei Ohtani, just like Kobe Bryant, no one's going to ever not want a Ken Griffey Jr. card. He is one of the best sold athletes of all time in the hobby. He just is. Now, maybe not from a dollar standpoint, but from a volume standpoint. So you're not going to have any trouble finding and or moving this card. So just like Lefty says, you can buy Bobby Witt Jr. in December and you can sell him in April every year and make money. You can pretty much do the same thing with Ken Griffey Jr. So if you look at this card, the 1989 Upper Deck base PSA 9, it's a pop 33,000. So there's 11,000 more of these than there are of the Kobe Bryant. So you will always be able to find this card, which is another reason why I like it. You're not going to sit there wasting your time and not be able to find a card. I'm the first person to tell you I have no problem losing eBay auctions. I have no problem not finding cards. But there are a lot of you out there that, you might get a little irritated if we tell you to go do something and there's none of them available. So that's why I'm giving you a couple options you're always going to be able to find. It's low. It gets pretty low as you get close to Christmas Day. It even gets pretty low this week historically, goes down to about under $200. It's pretty crazy that this card gets under $200 because its 365-day average is $240. And it recently just sold for close to $400. But as we get closer to Christmas, historically, this thing gets under $200. So it's another one where, oh man, okay, buy for under $200 in Christmas in an auction. 6 months later in June, it's a $308 card. And then as we get into World Series, baseball playoffs, all that stuff, look at this. It goes up to a $400 card during World Series time. And so who knows if history is going to repeat itself, but I like pattern recognition. I like to bet on the fact that this thing's going to get pretty low during the holidays. Let's see if it gets as low as 169 like it did a couple of days from now last year. Just be ready to try to snipe these things in eBay auctions. And that's what I'm doing with that card as well. Try not to pay over $400 for this card, okay? Try not to pay over $400 for this card. Auctions have currently ended at over $350. I would wait. I would wait until we get closer to Christmas. One just sold for $293 just a few weeks ago. So why go pay $367 for one that just ended the other day when we know historically just last year, these things should be ending for under $200 as we get closer to Christmas. That's what I want you guys to do. All right, lastly, but definitely not least, and this is where I'm using our My Athletes tool probably the most. It's the LeBron James 2003 Topps 221 PSA 9. Okay, there's a lot of different, and it doesn't have to be the PSA 9, but I still really like the PSA 9 of this card. I mean, just quite frankly, though, if you look at this card, this is a perfect example of the holiday dip, Kendall, because this card got up to around $525 around the beginning of basketball season, around the NBA tip-off. And now it's down to 467. So just as we get further removed from NBA tip-off and as we get closer to Christmas, this thing goes down. It's down $63 or 12% over the last 30 days. It doesn't fluctuate that much. So it's a good opportunity to buy this card. It's a pop 8,801. So again, winning this card starting now and in auctions over the next 30 days is a great idea. It's another one that follows the pattern that we just talked about with the Kobe and the Griffey. This week last year, selling for $355. As we get closer to Christmas, we see sales for $338. We know this card is a $450 to $550 card. It sold for $662 on August 1st. It sold for $635 on September 23rd. It sold for $600 on October 10th. It sold for $570 at the beginning of November, just a month ago, less than a month ago. The holiday dip is real. Look for it around $330, $350 around Christmas. That's what I'm doing. Just playing the smart money and bidding smart in auctions. LeBron James, 2003 Topps PSA 9. Ken Griffey Jr., 1989 Upper Deck PSA 9. Kobe Bryant, 1996 Topps base. And a ton of raw to grade Shohei Ohtani. So I've already won a few of the Kobe's. I'm going to stop until it gets a little lower, closer to Christmas. Same with the LeBron. My focus is on Ohtani right now because his prices probably aren't going to dip that much between now and Christmas. So I'm going to go Ohtani over the next few weeks. And then I'm just going to ramp up the Kobe, LeBron, and Griffey over the holidays and just see how many of those I can get. I don't anticipate the value of any of those going down from where I buy them. And then I'll just, as they come in, Lefty, I'll just decide, like, do I want to keep this Kobe as a PSA 9? Do I want to crack it and submit it to Beckett or SGC or what have you? But yeah, got my salsa, got my queso, got my buffalo chicken dip, got my hummus. Get all the dips ready, baby.
The dips for the dip.
How about that Scheffler, though? Man.
Jeez,
God, I wish
dude.
I still had that thing. Holy
That's
crap.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of cards I still wish I had as well. So can you imagine what our Wembys would go for now is when we sold them all? But yeah, it is what it is.
Yep.
What about our Shedeur Sanders autographs? What would they go for right now?
Well, you know, I think if the Browns wouldn't have shat their load against the 49ers and put Shedeur in a situation, he was in a no-win situation.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
I will say, Kevin Stefanski at the end of the game, they asked him about Shedeur, and he was like, "Yeah, I did pretty well. We put him under some bad moments. He came out fine." Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, so last week they were like, "Are you going to start Shedeur next week?" And he's like, "I don't know. Well, it'll remain to be seen. I don't know." You know, like, he's always been like, "I don't like this guy." Blah blah blah. He finally comes out of last week winning the job over Dylan Gabriel. Plays well on Sunday. So they asked him, they said, "Well, you know, like, how did he do?" And he's like, "Yeah, we played well for this situation we put him in, blah, blah, blah." And then they're like, "Well, are you going to start him next week?" And he literally, as fast as he could, he goes, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, all right.
For those of you wondering, like, Lefty's reference to Shedeur cards and to Wemby cards is basically making me feel better about the strategy of unloading everything as you have a profit, because there have been some cards that if we would have held on to Wemby cards that we profited on, if we would have held on to Shedeur cards that we profited on, we'd be down huge. And so I think that's just kind of his way of saying, like, look, man, you keep doing what you're doing. Every once in a while, there's going to be a little anomaly like the Scotty Scheffler thing, but overall you're winning. And so I appreciate that. Just for those of you who are we've had some people in the live chat that have been very supportive today, but we've had some new people in the live chat today that have been heckling and trolling us. So I've been promptly banning and deleting their comments just because I'm a bit of a sore loser like that. But let's give some live chat love here, and then we'll wrap it up with some news about the National. So the one and only Michael J, Craig Seener, Brandon Meisner, the Mr. Bacon Pancakes, Derek Hagan, Danny Rand has been a new name. He's been contributing today. We love that. George Schur, of course. Slab Talks has been bringing it strong. in the live chat. We appreciate all of you. And Rob Masora. How about our guy Rob Masora from Bob's Card Market? But also the Card Treasury. The Card Treasury on eBay is one of the best eBay stores. Go check them out. Appreciate your support, Rob. Rob's a good friend of mine here in Nashville, so appreciate the support. All right,
absolutely biffed the race. There is my rant.
Rob asked Lefty about McLaren. I think he was trying to rile him up.
Can't rile me up. You're not PSA.
Hey, Rob, do you know anyone at PSA that could help with this situation? You never know. Rob's full of good stuff. Rob, do you know anyone at the National? Because I am trying to get press passes for Lefty and I and Turner this year. I'm going to try to get us press passes. We'll see how that goes. The 46th National Sports Collectors Convention will be held July 29th through August 2nd, 2026 at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont, Illinois. General admission tickets and VIP admission packages for the National go on sale now.
Is that your announcer voice?
Yep.
Is that when like you used to announce the football games? Is that what you used?
No, because I'm just doing like play-by-play announcing. I'm not.
You want to give them a shout out, by the way?
Yeah, we should actually. Ravenwood High School football is going to the 6A Region Championship game this upcoming Saturday in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time at Finley Stadium, where the UT Chat football team plays. And my son Max is on the team. He's a 3rd/4th string QB on varsity. He played JV this year, but he's on the varsity squad. And he calls in the plays from the sideline. So the OC, he's got the headset on. The OC calls in the play, and then Max signs it in to the quarterback. But a big shout out to the Ravenwood Raptors. They've got Femi Babalola and Maverick Chance. They're both star quarterbacks that are seniors. They've alternated really their whole lives. They've played with each other, and they've alternated drives their entire careers at Ravenwood. Femi is going to Boston College to play for Bill O'Brien, and Maverick is going to Navy. So there's 2 D1 quarterbacks, and then just tons of amazing other players. The defense is just absolutely insane. One of my favorite players to watch is Bernard Pollard's son, Jalen Pollard. He's a great kid. Lefty, I don't know if the name Bernard Pollard rings a bell with you, but he played strong safety for the Chiefs, Ravens, and Titans. And nice. I think he was the one who tore Tom Brady's ACL, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh gosh, I hate him.
So his son Jalen is the man. Jalen's going to Western Kentucky. I could talk about the Ravenwood Raptors football team for another 20 minutes, but they definitely deserve a shout out. So I'm glad
they are the 8th, according to Max Preps, which is sometimes reliable. They are the Tennessee ranked 8th team in the state. So looking forward to seeing how Maverick Chance and what was the other guy's name?
Femi Babalola. I'll say this. They're 14-0. Okay. They were 13-1 last year. They lost in the semifinal game last year. They obviously won the semifinal game on Friday to go to the finals. There's no way they're the 8th team in Tennessee. They're definitely the number 1 team in Region 6A, which is the top region. I think what happens is Max Preps includes all of the regions. So I think you probably have teams like Baylor in there. That's a private school. Baylor goes and recruits nationwide and things like that. But from a public school standpoint, Ravenwood is for sure the number 1 team. They just got to go prove it. It's going to be a tough game though, Lefty, because their opponent, Oakland, does have a young man named Craig Tutt, who is a running back safety committed to Ole Miss, and he's the real deal.
Is he still committed to Ole Miss?
I don't know. We'll see. Ooh. Now that Lane Kiffin's going to LSU, we'll see if King Tutt keeps his commitment to Ole Miss.
I knew freaking Lane Kiffin was going to sneak his way into our show. I just knew it.
V-Bros Collectibles and Derek Hagan stepping in again at the end of the show. Richard Villarreal says, let's go dip, baby, dip. Yeah, we want to know, like, who are you guys buying during the holiday dip? Like, let us know. DM me at Sports Card Strategy on Instagram. Comment on this video below at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. We know most of you are listening on Apple and Spotify, but go over to youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Like the video, comment below. Don't troll us. Lefty, any parting shots for the day?
I don't know if you looked at the Max Preps, but you are correct. Baylor and Brentwood Academy and Nashville Christian and Battleground Academy are all ahead of Ravenwood. So I would assume those are all private schools.
That's insane because we would absolutely crush all of them except Baylor. Like, it wouldn't even be a game.
What about Oakland?
Yeah, Oakland is our opponent coming up.
They're number 3.
They're the ones. So they're in Murfreesboro. They're the ones that we play in the finals coming up here. We beat them in the regular season last year on a 2-point conversion in overtime. It was sick.
Get this. McKee. Do you know who this is?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I think
they have 3 losses and are ranked 4th in the state.
See, a lot of these schools play like a national schedule. And
Ravenwood is ahead of you guys and has 4 losses.
Yeah, I don't know how they do this. Look, I don't know that much about high school football. I only know from being a play-by-play announcer for Ravenwood, but I do know that Baylor's legit.
McKee has the strongest strength of schedule that I've seen on top 10.
So they're legit. Baylor's legit. Here's like I think BA is pretty darn good. Brentwood Academy. We just beat Southwind. That's who we beat in the semifinals.
Okay. All right.
They were 13-0. We beat Alcoa last year. So Alcoa's in 5A. They're the team that I don't know that we would ever play. I mean, maybe BGA is good this year. I don't know. Our coach, Ricky Rodriguez, affectionately known as Coach Rod. He's the head coach at Ravenwood. It's his first year. He used to coach at BGA, Battleground Academy. So he would be able to tell me if they're actually legit or not.
I love how we've gone full Tennessee high school football.
Yeah, people have just stopped listening at this point.
We still have 39 active viewers right now.
I mean, I was asked to be the play-by-play guy 2 years ago. I've had fun doing it. I've learned a lot. It's been fun to like be part of a high school football program. But I am not a huge high school football guy overall. I'm mainly into it because of my son, and he wants to continue to try to get better at quarterback. So we're going to try to support him doing that.
Let's hear this. Let's hear this before we sign off here.
Oh, God, this could be bad. Okay, Rob Masora says, have you practiced your call when Ravenwood wins and the clock hits 0? I don't know that there will be a call because I don't think I'm actually going to be broadcasting the final game because it's against TSSAA regulations to have like a broadcast like mine in the playoffs like this. But I guess I'll do it for you guys. Let's see. Do we want Lefty? I feel like should we do like a game winning play? Should it be a victory formation? Like we've got it wrapped up, or should it be like a game winning pass or what?
We're going to go. I'm going to give you the scenario. You ready for
give
this?
Me the scenario.
They're down by 4, so they have to go for it. They're on the 5. They're on the 5-yard line. Let's see. The Navy quarterback is in.
He's the quarterback?
He's the quarterback on the call. And they do an RPO to the tight end for 6.
Okay. All right. I like it. And how much time's left on the clock?
3 seconds.
Okay. 3 seconds left. Ravenwood Raptors have been in this spot before. Maverick Chance in at quarterback, ball on the 5. Last play of the game, Caden Pace, junior running back in the backfield to Chance's right. Tight end Drew Parker in motion. Chance takes the shotgun snap. RPO to his right, looks at pace. He's got Parker wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, Raptors. Drew Parker, senior tight end, clinches it. Raptors are state champs, 15-0. Congratulations, Coach Ricky Rodriguez. Everyone in the red zone. Ravenwood Raptors fam, you have done it. You are state champs. This is 2005, 2015, and again in 2025, the Raptors 6A state champs, baby.
I'll give it a B plus. I'll give it a B plus.
A B plus. Hey, I'll take it.
I felt like it lacked the emotion. But it wasn't live, so it's okay.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
hey, Rob Masora gave
Rob
me an A.
Says A minus. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. God, B plus.
The clarity was nice. I could follow the play in my mind. I could see it happening.
Yeah. It would be, man, if Drew Parker's on the basketball team, so I coach him in basketball too. If he actually caught the game-winning touchdown, that would be incredible. All right. For everybody at Ravenwood High School, for everybody in Brentwood, Tennessee, for everybody at nooffseason.com, thank you for listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show. We love you. Have a great day. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. If you enjoyed the content on today's show, there's plenty more waiting for you at nooffseason.com. Just go to nooffseason.com right now. You get our formula-based sports card rankings, sports card school, inventory tracker, the ability to grade with us, and the premium podcast where we answer an unlimited amount of your questions. Check it out right now at nooffseason.com. For everyone at nooffseason.com, I'm Paul Hickey. Thanks again for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.